Golf might look like a gentleman's game, but dig deeper and you'll find a long list of pros who stirred the pot and proudly wore black hats. Some players earn their reputations by piling up wins, others by piling up controversy. This isn't about birdies and bogeys, it's about backstabbing, beefs, and broken etiquette. We're breaking down the biggest villains from the PGA Tour, the guys the fans booed, the players loathed, and the media couldn't ignore. Patrick Reed. Patrick Reed should have been a hero. He was that guy at the 2016 Ryder Cup, trading birdies and snarls with Rory McIlroy in one of the most electric matches in team golf history. Captain America, they called him. But Reed's star power quickly got swallowed by suspicion. Dating back to his college days, former teammates accused him of cheating and stealing. Serious stuff. On tour, it only got messier. Grounding his club in a waste bunker at the Hero World Challenge in 2019, insisting a ball was embedded at Torrey Pines when video suggested otherwise, and brushing it all off like it was no big deal. Off the course, estranged from his parent, reportedly banned them from attending events. On the course, he was threatening to sue analysts who even hinted he might be bending the rules. Reed has real game. He won the 2018 Masters and has a grinder's mentality that thrives under pressure. But in the eyes of many, that green jacket came with an asterisk. He might be talented, but he's also the tour's closest thing to an actual golf supervillain. Bryson DeChambeau. At first, Bryson was a curiosity. The one-length clubs, the homemade swing mechanics, the physics degree interviews, it was weird, but also kinda cool. He was golf's answer to a mad scientist. Then came the bulking. In 2020, Bryson put on 40 pounds and started crushing 400-yard drive. It was impressive until the rest of his game slowed to a crawl. Like literally, he became the poster boy for slow play, drawing eye rolls from fans and fellow players. That's when things really went sideways. The feud with Brooks Koepka blew up, especially after fans started heckling Bryson with Brooksy chants. Instead of brushing it off, Bryson melted down, yelling back and even getting PGA security involved. He's undeniably a force. He won the US Open in 2020 and redefined how distance can dominate certain courses. But the mix of arrogance, awkwardness, and bizarre behavior, remember the anthill ruling debacle, made him a lightning rod. And then he bolted for Livgolf, taking his villain arc full circle. He went from nerdy oddball to golf's most polarizing muscle man. And somehow, it all makes sense. Brooks Koepka. Brooks Koepka plays golf like he's bored by it, unless it's a major. He's won 5 of those, including 2 US Opens and 3 PGA championships. And for a while, he looked like the closest thing to a modern Jack Nicklaus. Just don't ask him to care about the John Deere Classic. His public image? Deadpan, blunt, and just a little bit condescending. He mocked Bryson's slow play, his body transformation, and even his temper. Their feud got so real that security had to start removing fans who taunted Bryson with Brooks' name. Koepka didn't discourage it, he loved it. Other pros didn't love his habit of downplaying regular PGA Tour events, or his constant digs about how easy it is to win when you just focus on major. The guy made it clear, he doesn't respect most of the field or the week-to-week grind. Then came Liv. Like Bryson, Brooks cashed in, after swearing he never would. The same guy who once claimed he was a traditionalist bolted the moment the money got big enough. He's cool, he's clutch, and he's absolutely the villain in someone else's story. If you're enjoying this dive into golf's greatest anti-heroes, don't forget to tap that like button and subscribe. We've got more unfiltered golf history coming your way every week. Rory Sabatini. Before there was Reed or Bryson, there was Rory Sabatini, golf's chaos agent from the early 2000s. On paper, he was solid, a 6-time PGA Tour winner with a sneaky good career. But his real legacy? Rubbing everyone the wrong way. It started with a feud over pace. In 2005, Sabatini was paired with notoriously slow Ben Crane. After a few too many delays, Rory walked ahead to the next tee, while Crane was still hitting. He later called Crane the slowest human alive, not subtle. In 2007, he chirped Tiger Woods during a press conference, saying Tiger was more beatable than ever. That didn't go well. Tiger clobbered him at the next event, and fans heckled Rory into oblivion. His Ryder Cup and President's Cup appearances didn't help his rep either. He was known to be combative in the team room and openly criticized teammates. Sabatini's game was respectable, but his mouth made more headlines than his iron. Eventually, the tour's villain crown passed to a new generation, but Rory built the blueprint. Blunt, brash, and always one insult away from a blow-up. Sergio Garcia. Sergio Garcia's swing was always a thing of beauty. Fluid, fast, full of promise, but his temper? Less elegant. Once dubbed the best player to never win a major, future. Sergio seemed to carry that frustration with him everywhere he went. He's had flashes of brilliance. He's a Masters champion and a perennial Ryder Cup hero for Europe. But he's also the guy who spit in a cup after missing a putt at Doral. He's the guy who damaged multiple greens during a tantrum in Saudi Arabia. And yes, he's the guy who once launched a shoe into the crowd. Oh, and his feud with Tiger Woods? It started with petty shots and escalated to actual accusations of unfair play and borderline racist joke? Not a great look. Sergio's got the talent of a Hall of Famer, but the patience of a toddler. He's softened with age, but for years, fans and fellow players knew if Sergio was losing, there was probably a tantrum coming. No player mixed brilliance and bitterness quite like him. Greg Norman. Greg Norman was never one to play by the rules. In his prime, the Shark was an absolute force. World number one for over 300 weeks, a two-time Open champion, and the most aggressive driver of the golf ball in the 1980s. But his post-playing days, straight up antagonist. Norman's had a long-standing beef with the PGA Tour, calling them monopolistic and rigid. And when Livgolf came calling, Greg didn't just join, he became the face of it. He took every chance to throw jabs at PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan, calling out hypocrisy, painting Liv as the future, and brushing off Saudi Arabia's human rights issues like it was just bad press. Players who crossed over to Liv may have done it quietly, but Norman, he went scorched earth. Critics say his actions were motivated by revenge, intending to tear the sport apart. Supporters call him a disruptor who finally challenged the tour's grip. Either way, Greg Norman isn't just a villain for what he did, he's a villain for how gleefully he did it. Phil Mickelson. For 2 decades, Phil Mickelson was golf's lovable showman. Smiles, thumbs ups, wild flop shots, it was all part of the lefty charm. He was the anti-Tiger. Messy, emotional, human. But in the 2010s, the cracks started to show. First came the insider trading scandal, where Phil narrowly avoided prosecution after stock tips from a gambler friend. Then came his infamous meltdown at the 2018 US Open, chasing down and hitting a moving ball on the green like a mini golf dad having a breakdown. But the real twist came in 2022. Phil's comments about Livgolf were explosive. He called the Saudis scary mother-ers while still negotiating with them, then slammed the PGA Tour for obnoxious greed, before taking hundreds of millions to jump ship. He disappeared for months, missed the Masters, and returned looking like a Bond villain. Suddenly, the man of the people image felt like a mask. Phil still has fans. How could you not love some of the magic? But even his supporters can't ignore the turn. From thumbs-up icon to calculated mercenary, Mickelson's villain arc is one for the books. Robert Allenby. Robert Allenby had a respectable career. 4 PGA Tour wins, plenty more worldwide, but he'll always be remembered more for chaos than trophies. Things reached peak weird in 2015, when Allenby claimed he was kidnapped in Hawaii after missing the Sony Open cut. He said he was beaten, robbed, and left in a park, but police reports didn't line up. Witnesses said he was bar hopping, not abducted. The whole thing unraveled fast. And that was just one episode. Allenby had a habit of torching relationships with caddies, playing partners, and the media. He once publicly blamed his caddy for a bad round mid-tournament. Another time, he called out a young playing partner for not helping after a poor team round. Behind the scenes, he was seen as a locker room problem. Quick to blame, slow to own mistake. His game? Solid, but not special. His personality? Volcanic. Allenby never leaned into the villain role like some others, but his paranoia, excuses, and blow-ups made him impossible to root for, and unforgettable for all the wrong reasons. Colin Montgomerie. Colin Montgomerie is a legend in Europe. 8-time Order of Merit winner, Ryder Cup stalwart, and a consistent top 10 machine in the 90s and early 2000s. But in the US, he was booed before he even swung a club. Monty's slow play, moody expressions, and constant complaints made him an easy target. At the US Open, fans would shout, "Miss it," during his putts. And at Bethpage Black, it got so bad that players like Jack Nicklaus defended him publicly. He didn't help himself. He was accused of improving his lie by dropping a ball from his pocket near his marker. He later denied it, but the optics were bad. Add that to his prickly demeanor with fans and media, and he became golf's version of the grumpy neighbor nobody wanted to pair with. Despite never winning a major, Monty had world-class talent. He just lacked the cool, or the chill. And in America, that turned him into a villain, one sarcastic grimace at a time. J.B. Holmes. J.B. Holmes can bomb it with the best of them. He's got multiple tour wins and has been a staple on driving distance leaderboards for years. But no one's talking about his driver when they talk about J.B. Holmes. They're talking about how long it takes him to hit the thing. Holmes became the face of golf's slow play epidemic. During the 2019 Farmers Insurance Open, he took over 4 minutes to play a single shot while leading the tournament. Fans groaned. Commentators roasted him. His peers? Furious. Instead of taking the criticism to heart, Holmes doubled down. He said his process works for him and that others were just being impatient. And that's the thing. JB didn't just move slow, he moved defiant. While the tour quietly pushed new pace of play policies, Holmes dragged his feet literally and figuratively. He was a good player, but not good enough to excuse the headache. In a sport that already battles a perception problem with casual fans, JB Holmes became the ultimate buzzkill. A villain not because of anything outrageous, just because he refused to get on with it. John Daly. John Daly is the most beloved villain golf has ever seen. A two-time major winner with a homemade swing and a Bud Light in hand, Daly was a breath of cigarette smoke-filled fresh air. He crushed drives, played without fear, and looked like your uncle wandered into a major and somehow won. But Daly's legend comes with baggage. Public intoxication arrests, a PGA Tour suspension for conduct, a revolving door of divorces, gambling problems, lawsuits, even a bizarre incident involving throwing a fan's camera into a lake. Despite all that, fans loved him. He signed autographs when others didn't, wore loud pants, told it like it was. He was anti-country club golf, but even his supporters admit he wasted generational talent. Daly often imploded as quickly as he rose, and sometimes more spectacularly. Was he a villain? Depends who you ask. Some see him as the sport's rock star. Others see him as its cautionary tale. Either way, John Daly walked chaos to the tee box every week, and golf was never the same. Steve Elkington. Steve Elkington won a PGA championship and had a smooth, syrupy swing that turned heads in the 90s. But these days, he's better known for the garbage he tweets than the trophies he won. Elkington went from respected vet to social media menace seemingly overnight. He mocked NFL player Michael Sam after his coming out announcement, saying the coverage was embarrassing. He once joked that a female golfer got lucky because she's not used to the spotlight. And then there was the time he said an earthquake wasn't that big of a deal, probably just some Asians jumping up and down. Yeah, real classy stuff. Livgolf defector. The PGA Tour versus Livgolf wasn't just a business battle. It was a civil war, and right in the crosshairs, a group of players who cashed out and crossed over: Dustin Johnson, Ian Poulter, Lee Westwood, Taylor Gooch, Patrick Reed, and more. Their crime? Taking Saudi-backed money and leaving the tour that built their legacy. For fans, it felt like betrayal. For Ryder Cup captains, it caused chaos. For the PGA Tour, it was an existential crisis. Some of these guys, like Poulter and Westwood, were past their prime. Others, like DJ and Gooch, were in their prime and thriving. That stung even more. The defectors claimed it was for growing the game. But let's be real, no one turns down $100 million to grow anything. The fallout was brutal. Suspensions, legal threats, and a divided fan base. And even with recent peace talks between Livgolf and the tour, the legacy stain lingered. Villains or visionary? Depends on your loyalty. But no one flipped golf's moral compass faster than the Liv crew. From slow play specialists to social media saboteurs, these tour pros showed us that sometimes being disliked is part of the job. Some leaned into it, others fell into it. But every villain on this list left a mark on the game, whether we liked it or not. If you enjoyed this breakdown of golf's most infamous characters, hit the like button and subscribe for more Golf Explained, and let us know in the comments. Who did we miss? We'll see you next round.